Hello, everyone. This is Bobby Valentine along with Frankie Rampin. And we're here once again after taking a week off to have the Bobby Valentine Hanashima Show, talking baseball with you about the Japanese players in MLB. Frankie, how are you doing, man? I got a week off, Jersey Shore, huh?
Yes, just had a great week off, vacation down in New Jersey with the family, but I'm ready to be back talking baseball here with you. Let's do it.
So there's a Long Beach in New Jersey in the United States where a lot of people go. What is that like, Frankie, in the summertime?
Extremely hot this week. Some of the hottest days that I've ever been out in the Jersey Shore. Yearly vacation for my family, but this year, something different. That water is always so cold, but this year you had to get into it because you were just dripping sweat with the heat wave over here.
It's so hot. It feels on the East Coast, it feels like it's Tokyo in the summer. And that heat is at times repressive. But some of the players are doing really well. And we had a return of a great left-hander in Chicago with the first-place Cubs. What did we see in Chicago?
Yes, we did. We saw the return of Shota Imanaga, the left-hander for the Chicago Cubs. Finally made his return after a hamstring injury sidelined him for about a month and a half. Great first start for him off the IL. 5 scoreless innings, only gave up 1 hit, struck out 3, walked 1, and got his first win right back off the IL in a 3-0 Cubs victory.
And being healthy is such a great sign for the Cubs because he is their number one starting pitcher. And, taking that time off might wind up to be a blessing in disguise if the Cubs make a long run into the playoffs and the season gets extended. I think that they might have their left-hander fresh for the entire year.
Yes, and we've talked about how good the Chicago Cubs offense has been, led by Seiya Suzuki and Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, but their pitching staff has really struggled ever since Shota Imanaga has been down. So him getting back into rotation is a huge, huge boost for this Cubs team that leads the NL Central.
Yeah, it really happens to pitching staffs when the best pitcher goes down. How about what happened to the New York Mets when their best pitcher went down?
Yes, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Kodai Senga, same injury that Shota Imanaga suffered. A little bit less severe, a hamstring injury, but Kodai Senga been down for about 2 weeks now for the Mets, and that Mets staff has really struggled. Every pitcher in the rotation has above a 6 ERA since then, and it's a massive shift from the beginning of the season till now, where the Mets had the best pitching in the league. Not so much now. They are really, really struggling.
Yeah, and when Japanese pitchers leave the rotation, they struggle. But the Dodgers had a Japanese pitcher be added to their rotation, and their rotation is looking up because of it, even though it's only 1 inning from the greatest.
Yes. Shohei Otani finally back on the mound, first time in over 500 days taking the mound. He's made 2 appearances now, got up to 2 innings this past weekend. He threw the hardest pitch of his entire MLB career, right here to Vinny Pasquantino, forces him into a 4-6-3 double play. And funny enough, this was the first time that Otani got to 102 in his career. He did reach 102 in the World Baseball Classic, so not in a major league game. And guess who he threw that pitch to as well? Vinny Pasquantino. Vinny Pasquantino, the same hitter.
I'll be darned. I guess he's a real big left-handed hitter, must give a great target where you can really let it go with all of your strength. And I think the Dodgers have been phenomenal in their rehab and getting Shohei back into the rotation, letting him start, get the feel of pitching and hitting, pitching in major league games and working up to those days after the All-Star break, as we mentioned all year long, when I think Shohei will be stretched out as a true starting pitcher and he'll pitch those 5 innings. And the one thing I see being talked about since our show, and I think it was our show that said it first, is that when he's pitching, he should not be leading off, especially when he's pitching at home, because he has to pitch that entire inning, then run into the dugout, put on all his equipment, run up to the plate and be the leadoff hitter with the clock going. There's no need to rush him. I think the Dodgers are considering flip-flopping him and Freddie Freeman for just those starts of Otani. I think that's something to look forward to.
That's definitely something to look forward to. That's a very interesting point you make there, Bobby, because Otani's only pitched twice. And in both of those appearances, he has had to lead off an inning. Obviously, he had one at Dodger Stadium, so the first inning, you're going to have to lead off the bottom. But he did that in Colorado as well, or Kansas City as well. So he's had to rush, get himself ready to go quicker than he normally would. And both those at-bats did not result in hits.
Yeah, it's tough when I saw him do it in Anaheim, and, he's amazing, but he wasn't leading off. And leading off the game is a little, different than just having another at-bat. And we'll see how that all goes. But, the one crazy thing that we saw was where and you'd imagine that your brother Zach is calling, and we're not able to do this right now. What's he doing? He should know that we have our Zoom right now, and I can't deal with him and his batting practice. Hey, how about you say Kikuchi? He continues to just put up great innings. This is a guy, when you talk about the All-Star game right around the corner, Shohei's definitely going to be there. Very well, Kikuchi could be the representative from the Angels that he has pitched so well with such hard luck. Probably won't make the All-Star team, but he's pitched like an All-Star. And the aforementioned Japanese pitchers, both Senga and Imanaga, both would be at the All-Star game had it not been for injuries. Maybe it's a good thing that you get to rest a little in the midseason because this is a marathon, this Major League Baseball season, and we're just about at the halfway point of a marathon race, not of a sprint, of a marathon. And it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. And those who finish strong are the ones who are remembered in the history of the game of baseball. What else do we have out there, Frankie? Anything special this week?
Well, so Kikuchi, let's talk with him for about a second. His ERA down to 2.79, under 3. He's been exceptional this season. Like you mentioned, going through all that hard luck, tough calls, tough breaks, just with bad bounces, seeing eye singles like we're going to talk about in a minute. But Yusei Kikuchi just continues to dial it in every 5 days, every 6 days. 12 strikeouts over 7 innings, only 3 hits allowed. He was exceptional against the Red Sox this day. He's been great, and I do think there is definitely a chance that we can see him in Atlanta for the All-Star game in about a month.
Yeah, it's an amazing repertoire that he has expanded. He's thrown his curveball now as much as he's throwing his slider, and his fastball remains at 96 miles an hour, sometimes touches 97. His control is very good. If he hadn't thrown a ball away and if he hadn't given up a pop fly that went, into the first row down the right field line for a grand slam after an error and a couple walks, his ERA would be even better than that 2.7 that it is. He's been an outstanding pitcher.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch him pitch along with all the other Japanese pitchers this year. They've been exceptional, to be honest, all of them throughout the board.
Yeah, and I would say, one of the things you might hear when they're out there is that they have Moxy. A lot of announcers use the term Moxy when they see a guy who's really competing with all of his strength and all of his will. What do you think Moxy comes from, Frankie?
So when I always heard Moxy, my original representation was the guy's got confidence. He's got sort of a swagger to him, some bravado, if you would say. But Bobby, you should have told me a very interesting story right before this. I'd love for you to tell it here.
Yeah, Moxy was a drink in the 40s. It was a soft drink that had a lot of something in it, like caffeine, or some people even say maybe a cocaine derivative, that when you drank it, you really got your hair on fire. You really got fired up. And guys would noticeably be a little different out on the baseball field with their energy and with their spirit. And people would say that, oh, he must have had some Moxy. And then it went from there over the years to saying, oh, yeah, he has Moxy. But he have Moxy without drinking the drink. That's for sure. And you don't get suspended if you're drinking Moxy because it's still being sold.
Yep, Moxie's still being sold. You go get yourself some on eBay right now. But that is a crazy story, Bobby. And also reminds me of the old story about Coca-Cola, that the original Coca-Cola recipe had cocaine in it as well. So maybe they were just getting wired on the field and going crazy.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. And some of the terms you might hear out there, we try to straighten out. How about the old C&I single? What would that refer to? That the ball had a seeing eye single? That's kind of doesn't even make sense, but they say it all the time.
It's kind of like saying the ball has almost a mind of its own or some eyes of its own. That's where you get the seeing eyes. Or a softly hit ground ball or even really a line drive can just squeeze its way through the perfect spot in the infield for a base hit.
Yeah, everyone's falling down trying to catch it, but it's just a little out of their reach, and it doesn't work for them. But you know what works for us, Frankie, is that we do a quick show. We talk about MLB. One thing people have to understand is that this is kind of the first gas stop. This all-star break is where players get to refuel. Sometimes guys finish strong when they go toward that last 10 days of baseball before the 4-day break. And some guys pull it up short and have a really bad week because they think that they've already reached that initial finish line. So we'll have to watch and see how the concentration is of the players who are playing this last 10 days of the major league season before they get a 4-day break. I'm looking forward to this last little stretch.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time for baseball. See who stays hot, see who gets cold, and who can finish off the season strong and make a playoff push.
And Frankie, you finished strong today, and our little podcast here has been brought to you by Steel Sports, one of the leaders in youth sports around the country. We're glad to be part of Steel Sports, and we're glad to be part of your day. Thank you for listening. Until next week, Bobby V and Frankie Rampin saying sayonara.